The year is 2025, and what we're witnessing is not just a race, it's a revolution, a head-to-head clash of titanic innovation in one of the most explosive sectors of artificial intelligence, video generation. On one side, we have VO3, the polished, ultra-precise brainchild of Google DeepMind, now boasting cinematic-level realism, physics-aware animation, and text-to-video fidelity that blurs the line between generated and filmed. On the other stands OpenAI's Sora, a boundary-breaking AI engine that doesn't just generate video, it imagines new dimensions of creativity, with surreal transitions, dreamlike coherence, and the ability to take written prompts and turn them into full-blown visual poetry. The VO3 versus Sora battle is not just about which AI renders more pixels per frame, it's a war for creative dominance for the very future of how stories, ads, films, news, and even memories will be created. Never before in tech history have two tools stood on the frontier of reshaping visual media at this scale. But before we get into the details, let us ask the real question. What makes these two engines so groundbreaking that traditional video production is now shaking in its boots? And more importantly, who's winning? Let's start with VO3, the sleek, streamlined evolution of DeepMind's original VO engine. VO3 was built from the ground up not as a hobbyist tool, but as an enterprise-grade platform meant to replace entire video studios. From its physics simulation engine that ensures realistic motion, to its depth-aware lighting models that mimic professional cinema lighting conditions, VO3 is a beast of precision. You write a drone shot over the Andes Mountains during golden hour with fog rolling across the peaks. And VO3 doesn't just deliver, it calculates the sun's position, simulates the fog's diffusion, shadows cast by terrain, and even camera shake, consistent with drone mechanics. It's trained on decades of cinematography, and every update has made it more aware of shot composition, focal length realism, aperture blur, and motion continuity. VO3's latest milestone, fully editable shots. Now you can render a 10-second scene, highlight a character, and say, make them look 30% older, and it does it, in frame, across all frames, without breaking continuity. The implications are seismic. No more reshoots, no more actors on location, no more expensive VFX. But VO3 doesn't just focus on realism, it focuses on control. Every parameter is dialable. You can tweak the wind, the lens, the costume fabric, the background extras, even the time of day within the same clip. VO3 is Hollywood in a prompt bar. Now let's turn to Sora. While VO3 is the engineer's masterpiece, Sora is the poet's dream. Built by OpenAI, Sora approaches video not as a camera simulation, but as a language in motion. You give it a prompt, a child dreaming of flying through candy-colored galaxies while orchestral music plays, and Sora doesn't just replicate physics. It transcends them. It weaves together emotion, surreal color palettes, non-linear transitions, abstract elements, and often adds visual metaphors you didn't even request, like the galaxy morphing into a carousel, the stars turning into floating candy, the child laughing in slow motion while the music pulses in sync with the visuals. Sora's real power is in its story sense. It can infer moods, themes, even emotional arcs from pure text. Want to build an ad that shows a person breaking free from limitations? Sora will show chains turning into birds, dark alleys blooming with light, steps echoing like heartbeat rhythms, pure symbolism generated in seconds. Sora doesn't just visualize, it interprets. And that's what's terrifying the creative industry, because it means that entire teams, storyboarders, concept artists, editors, mood designers, can be replaced by a single user with a vision and a keyboard. Now let's pit them directly, VO3 versus Sora, on key metrics. First up, realism. VO3 wins hands down. If your goal is to replace a camera crew, shoot a realistic commercial, simulate architecture in daylight, or generate a believable car chase, VO3's rendering engine, physics fidelity, and shot coherence are years ahead. Skin pores, lens distortions, motion blur, sun angles. It nails them. Sora, on the other hand, occasionally dips into dream logic mode where continuity bends and realism gives way to mood. But then we hit creative abstraction, and here Sora wipes the floor. Want a black and white noir sequence where time runs backward, shadows tell lies, and buildings breathe? Sora gives you exactly that, stylized, emotional, and thematically aware. VO3 tries, but its model architecture is grounded in realism first and foremost. It can do fantasy, yes, but it doesn't invent motifs the way Sora does. Let's talk prompt understanding. VO3 uses a hybrid multimodal input system. It reads your text, understands your vision, but wants specificity. You need to describe angle, time, tone, motion, and it delivers with Swiss watch accuracy. Sora, in contrast, is almost intuitive. It can take vague prompts, like a moment of sadness turning into hope, and deliver layered symbolic sequences without being told exactly how. That makes it better for ideation, for music videos, for poetic montages. VO3 is the control freak's tool, perfect for corporate content, documentaries, explainer videos. Sora is the canvas of chaos, the dreamer's domain. Then comes editing. VO3 recently introduced temporal editable frames, which allow you to tweak one frame and the system adjusts the others accordingly. You can now insert branded content in an existing render, swap actors, change color grading across scenes with zero retraining. Sora isn't quite there yet. It focuses on full sequence generation and currently lacks fine-grained, user-guided post-editing. But here's the twist. OpenAI is hinting at Sora X, a next-gen module that will allow frame-by-frame neural attention mapping, effectively allowing live edits inside generative video loops. If that goes live, the editing crown might shift quickly. Another key battleground is length and coherence. VO3's current limit is around 90 seconds of Ultra HD, fully coherent footage. Sora is reportedly capable of producing 60-second narrative arcs with some stylistic drift, but with both models inching toward 5-minute renders and stitching APIs, we're looking at a future where entire short films, YouTube content, or even Netflix pilots could be AI-rendered end-to-end. Think about that. What was once the domain of million-dollar budgets will soon be accessible to creators with zero experience in filmmaking. Just type your vision and let the machines do the rest. So now we ask, who is this battle for? Is it about replacing Hollywood or empowering the next generation of creators? The truth is, both. VO3 is already being tested in ad agencies across New York and Tokyo. Product launches, car commercials, medical animations, all being AI-crafted, saving months of post-production. Sora, meanwhile, has become a secret weapon among indie filmmakers and musicians who can now generate trippy visuals for album art, trailers, or concept videos without needing a team. Schools are using Sora to turn student stories into animated fairy tales. Game developers are using VO3 to pre-visualize levels, simulate camera paths, and generate cinematic cutscenes. In every field, education, entertainment, marketing, architecture, journalism, AI video generation is no longer a toy. It's a tool, a force, a wave. But the biggest shift is cultural. For the first time in human history, anyone with a thought, a story, or a message can visualize it, not just write it, but render it, share it, and scale it to millions. You don't need a studio. You don't need money. You don't need permission. And that is revolutionary. VO3 and Sora are breaking the monopoly on storytelling. They're giving back creative power to the individual. And that's why this battle matters. Not because of specs or benchmarks, but because the winner won't be the AI. The winner will be the human who dares to use it boldly. In conclusion, the battle of 2025 isn't really VO3 versus Sora. It's old world versus new. It's traditional content pipelines versus instant, infinite, generative creativity. It is about whether you cling to the past or embrace the tools that let you create like never before. VO3 brings structure. Sora brings soul. One builds worlds that exist. The other builds worlds that don't, but should. And maybe the future isn't choosing one over the other, but merging both. A VO-rendered world, Sora Enchanted, narrated by AI, delivered to billions, the new cinema, the next evolution of content. And it all starts here, with two AIs, battling not for dominance, but for your imagination.